Okay, hi guys. My name is Nina Means. I'm the director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and I'm and I am joined by the few. Brittany. It sounds like you can hear my son in the background, but we are here with Brittany Allen. I've known Brittany for a few years now. You probably know her as one of the darlings, one of the best representations of Austin, Texas on Project Runway season 18. We are so proud of her for the incredible job that she did there, standing in front of Carly Kloss and Elaine Welteroth and Brandon Maxwell, Christian Siriano. Just really doing a fantastic job. But I know Brittany, having been a coworker with her, we were professors for fashion design program at Art Institute. So, Brittany, it's such a pleasure to have you here and get a chance to talk about this design evolution of yours.
Yes.
So tell me, I think that, I'm so excited that you're on the show. Can you tell me some of the most, memorable moments that you had, being on Project Runway?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. And it also feels like it was yesterday, but it also feels like it was like 100 years ago because it went by so fast. But I think the most memorable part of the entire season was, of course, being saved by Christian Siriano.
Yes, the Siriano save.
Yeah, Siriano save was pretty unexpected. I went into the competition to ever win the very first challenge, just because you go into something like that and you have self-doubt. You think, am I really supposed to be here? Like, am I as good as the competition? And then that kind of set the tone just to kind of keep my spirits up. So the first win was very crucial, but then going through the competition and kind of losing your way just a little bit, which is bound to happen for any creative. He was there to just kind of sweep me off my feet and keep me in the competition. So I'll never forget that moment. And I tell him, I owe you my firstborn child. I owe you so much. And he just laughed at me, but I'm like, no, really, I owe you a
lot. What an incredible moment. I feel like it was so impactful to see just the evolution of your style, but I feel like your style has such a strong fingerprint. You have such a strong handwriting in your design. What inspires you? How do you get to your product?
I'm usually inspired just about everything. I could just walk down the street and there's a construction site and I'm like, oh, these colors and the architecture. Mm-hmm. So I try to pick out, inspiration from everything. My last collection was actually inspired by Lady Bird Johnson. So, she has such a huge presence here in Austin with the conservatory, and there's the gardens with the butterflies. And I wanted to take that very kind of organic idea and then mix it with pop art. So I kind of merged the two ideas of Ashley Longshore and Lady B. Johnson, Lady Johnson. Yeah. So those two things that wouldn't normally go together, but then you think, oh, they're so cohesive.
Right.
I just kind of find inspiration in a little bit of everything and merge them together. But it all comes down to kind of translating and communicating my current moods in collections. Mm-hmm. If I'm feeling sad, I want to make sure that I just kind of get all that emotion out in a collection, or if I'm happy or anxious. But it all comes down to really dressing the woman that is very feminine, but she's powerful. So it's really really silhouettes, but some women are scared of pink because I know that's too girly, but it's it can be a power color. It can really
absolutely.
So it's
absolutely
and feminism in my looks.
I love that. I mean, and it really does come through. I mean, I personally love that it was the pink degradé. It was started in this really soft pink, and then it kind of evolved into this really rich fuchsia or magenta color, and just kind of the strong, bold silhouettes, the colors, I was very inspired, seeing the work come out of that. And I can see that there's definitely a strong juxtaposition between the femininity and strength.
Yeah. And it could be with that collection, all the pink, that was right after I came out of the show. So I felt like I really needed to get this thing off my chest with the pink, and kind of ride this wave and just get it over with. But it was a very symbolic of finding my way as a designer, but not only just as a designer, but a woman, like starting off with the soft pink and, being very like hesitant and, reluctant to show who I was as a designer and play it safe. And then in the end, you end at this like really neon magenta and you're like, I am here and I'm fierce and I don't care what other people think about me. So it's like this very, very like obvious progression of, the journey of a woman.
I totally got chills when you said that. Like I was like, yes, that's exactly what it's like. There's this evolution.
But whenever I talk about it, it's just like, oh, that makes sense.
Absolutely. No, I think a lot of women, identify with that. I think a lot of people identify with that, just kind of coming into your own and feeling like your authentic self and that, living out loud and being bold and being colorful may really be the real you, And so that's so empowering, it just seems like absolutely the journey is so key. I feel like over this time, it's been such a unique moment in history that we've been living. And, that's a really, it's interesting. So, we're going to keep it positive, but, I do feel, it's put us into these unique spaces. What's been the effect of kind of, going into this pandemic timeline, as a creative, as a designer, coming off of this, Project Runway season, what's that time kind of been like for you?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I was so grateful for the show and I was so excited to kind of wrap up the season. On March 12th was the last episode that we had. And coming off of that, I was really excited to do like appearances and talk with designers and really share my experience of what the show has done for me and my brand. And literally, I think our last episode was on a Thursday. And then that Sunday, they were like, you guys need to quarantine. I'm like, what? I mean, we were not prepared for this. So, I'll be honest, like I really thought that, I had taken this risk and quit my full-time job and did this fashion or, this competition TV show. And then I was like, this is the time to do my brand full time. And I put everything, literally like blood, sweat, and tears, but also all the money that I had into this brand. And then I'm thinking, of course, this is my luck that we're going to go into a pandemic and then sales will just kind of plummet. I just really tried to kind of hone into what my market is and what my market wants. And that's as sad as it is. I mean, we can relate, like we love some high fashion in our lives, but it's not selling right now. It's casuals. It's what makes people feel comfortable, but like trendy and home. And so I've really tried to hone into that and I had a really great response. So it's been really strange to say the least. But I'm just really staying positive and just giving my market exactly what they want and what makes them feel good. And then, in the end, the feedback has been quite amazing. So
that's awesome. I personally have been watching the product that's been coming out of your brand, and I've been loving the embroideries. I've been loving the tie-dyes. Can you tell me a little bit about your process with that? Because I think that some people who don't really understand, they're like, what, does she have a bunch of patches? And you're like,
nope.
That's not tell us about your process. Yeah. It's not just a t-shirt with patches. It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's way more than that.
It is. And I'm kind of one of those people that I love. The way that I'm kind of like eco-conscious or sustainable, I'm not like Lila where I'm like zero waste. So I try to find other ways to do my part. But all my small batch manufacturing is done by myself. So I don't buy patches. I don't outsource all my tie-dye. I don't, at first I was actually outsourcing my screen printing, but I just bought this big printer with a heat press and I'm going to do all my own screen printing as well, which I'm super excited.
Wow.
Everything that you buy from me, literally like we're hooping in the studio and we're embroidering with the thread that we have. And as of, maybe next month when this printer comes in, because everybody wants to screen print now.
Yeah.
Screen printing all our own stuff.
That's awesome.
Graphics. So it's really, really exciting. Everything is really thought out and done by the team. Yesterday I took like 20 pairs of joggers and hoodies and I just sat here and watched some TV and rubber banded them because we do all our tie-dye in-house as well.
Wow.
So yeah, that's like the level of quality that you're getting something that's, it's high quality. It's going to last you for a very long time.
Absolutely.
It may be a factor of myself that is, I can't let go of control, but I really, really like to oversee everything that comes out of my studio and make sure it's the highest quality as possible. So, I mean, it's fun. It's good to be a part of the whole process of everything that I put out there.
Well, I love that, it's, I think the benefit of having it so close by is that you're not having things shipped all over, the
Yes.
country a million times, right? To get things completed. Like you're cutting down on your carbon footprint by keeping everything done in house and then shipping directly to, customers. So I would imagine the customer would really appreciate that it's actually been done by Brittany. That it's actually, it has a much more connected.
And we hold on to all the
Yeah.
blanks, but I mean, like a white t-shirt and like a black crew neck or V-neck or like a gray hoodie can be translated into so many different styles. So I hold on to all of my inventory, and all my inventory comes out of Dallas. So like if I order something, I can get it in like the next day if I order early.
Wow.
So it's good.
Right.
Yeah. So somebody orders something, it's really easy just to not hold on to like, 100 units. I can hold on to like 5 at a time and just see how the orders go and then order a little more if I need it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as people order the embroidery stuff, I stick it on the hoop, and it max takes like an hour and a half for some of the more complex stuff, but it's done as you order it. So like I'm not sitting on just a bunch of stuff hoping that it sells, and it doesn't sell, and then I have to mark it down and just get rid of it. I feel like that's
wonderful.
This fashion industry that's like so polluting. So like
absolutely.
If I have, 10 gray hoodies, and my butterfly hoodie is one of the best seller thing ever happened, and it didn't sell anymore, I could take that gray hoodie and then create a whole new style, like put
excellent,
a screen printing on it or something. It's like those will get used, and it's a sustainable way to do fashion. I'm not just sitting on, 10 butterfly hoodies that I have to mark down to like $20 just to move. I mean, that's what the fast fashion is doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Trying to compete on that, with those kinds of margins just doesn't make sense for small business. So the idea that you're really making it to order, I think makes it even that much more special. First of all, that there's not going to be, thousands of people running around in the same, sweatshirt, and comfort right now. You're right. It's the most important thing. As soon as we're off of this call, I'm finding a sweatshirt. I wore this shirt for you. But I think that you're right. It's like, it's so important to be able to make sure that we're not creating an inventory problem. Because I mean, their brands are sitting on billions of dollars of inventory and cannot move it because they committed to that, random color. They committed to that, random design that now no one can.
Right.
No one wants.
And it is a brand thing. Like they're taking a risk hoping that it sells. And if it does, then it's great. But if it doesn't, it's just sitting there. And so it's also a really good way that I can control the quality of my product.
Absolutely.
So, I'm not opening up a box that came from, somewhere in New York where they produce all this stuff. And I have this crazy surprise of like half of the sweatshirts not being exactly like I want them, which happens all the time. You know that. So I can sit there, that day and make sure it's absolutely perfect before it gets ships out, and I'm not wasting,
that's awesome,
all this clothing.
Yeah. So tell me, where is your studio located? Because I thought that your setup was, and the evolution of your setup is really cool.
Yeah. So I started on the top floor of my house, and then my husband has this State Farm agency here in Austin, and he had this huge conference room in the back. So I was like, you know what, let me move into this. I have a great landlord that's very lenient on the rent. But, so he has this really, really big room, and we're actually right now knocking out a bunch of walls. So I'll have 100 or 1,000 square feet for a big studio. So I'm going to be painting and like putting in, production tables and getting some more machinery. So it's going to be a small batch manufacturing essentially in the next couple of weeks.
That's awesome.
Everything in house.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's just about a quarter of a mile away from my house up north. I know, it's so nice.
Amazing.
You do everything, in that little room.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So, during this time, I know that you've been able to.
I want to join in on the call.
Yeah, we might have a. Yes, baby, I see.
He has a lot to say about sustainability.
He does. Sustainability is very, very important. No, I love that, things are, you're able to manage the business really close to home. You're, looking at sustainability. You guys are expanding the workspace. Kind of as you see your brand evolving, kind of, have you been looking? Oh, before I get into that, one of the things that you'd mentioned before was about just kind of the expectation of what kind of came out of Project Runway with the brand and kind of doing these in-person appearances. But, as we're doing this today, right, we're doing these virtual experiences, talking to one another. Have you seen some interesting things that have been happening in that space for you? Because, people still want to see you. We want to hear from you and what you're working on and how the brand is growing. So have you had some really, interesting virtual experiences where you've been talking about the brand?
Yeah, like coming out of the show, I had so many paid like public appearances and like all these talks, and everything just at once got canceled. So it's kind of, forced me to be really creative with what I do digitally, because people want to see something new, but they also just don't want to sit there and, like watch on their screen you talk for, hours on end. So, I'm part of this thing with my friend Barry. We're doing this like Flourish event where all these creators are coming together and they're talking about a really important cause. And it's like drag queens and fashion designers. And it's just showing your process while talking about something that really we're all passionate about. But I think it's all forced all of us really to show a side of our creativity in a way that's digitally appealing to the market. 30 years old, I never would have thought that I would have like downloaded TikTok and like done that whole thing. I got on there and I was like, what's this all about? And I had like 300 followers. Like the longest time I was not making a dent. And I just started thinking, people really want to see content that is going to help them or, bring joy into their life. And I, realized there's so many small businesses or, teenagers that are like, I want to be a business owner. I want to start my own brand early. And there's so many kids out there that are like, I'm selling scrunchies and they're really successful. And so I started doing some videos on like branding and packaging and like how you can tie dye at home. And I've had videos that have gone viral, and in like 3 weeks, I got like 12,000 followers.
Whoa!
Yeah, so
you're a TikTok queen.
Millions of followers.
Yeah,
got 12,000. No big deal.
but I'm thinking like the growth from 300 to 12,000 in 3 weeks is pretty good. Yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. I think you're on your way, right?
It's easier to get followers than Instagram. Instagram is pretty cutthroat. Yeah. It's a different market too. So as a fashion designer, you're like, how can I speak to, my Instagram followers are mostly like 25 to 55, which I love that market so much because they really are just like all about the fashion. And then what my target market, which I mean, like we've talked about brand probably too many times. That my target market is actually, I started out a little bit younger. And it's kind of changed since then. It's kind of morphed into something else, but it started at like 18 to 38. And I was like, how can I speak to that 18-year-old market? And that is TikTok. So in a different way, but I've gotten sales off of that digital platform. And it's just right now, it should be that creatives are trying something that they've never tried before or doing something different. I did tie-dye on the show, but that was also in like 9 hours on camera.
You're like, oh God. Yeah. It has to turn out.
Right. Christian can't save me again.
Right.
I'm trying new stuff. Now's the time to do that. And that's digitally, that's, you in your kitchen doing tie-dye or, talking about things that are helping other creatives because it's such a trying time right now. And we all we have to do it all together.
No, we really do. And I love that you're taking an approach where you're really looking at, okay, well, what are the other kind of tools that we have in our toolkit? And then how can we use those tools like the most creatively we possibly can? And You're right. It's so key to like find ways to, I mean, TikTok is, kind of, it is completely transformed the way that
Different animal.
it really is. But it's something that, you have to be there,
Yeah.
and I think that it's been really cool to see all of the content that's been coming out and the shift, that's happening there. So I'm curious to see like where that develops, because I think that that's something, being in the video space is really much more. I know we need to talk to each other. We need to feel like we're engaging.
Yeah, it's different. And videos are harder because in Instagram, which is much more of our market and our generation, it's one picture. Like I can literally just get in my studio, take a picture, do a couple edits, and then post that. Whereas a video, it's like, if you're showing like a progression of a couple of days, something kind of coming to fruition, it's like, let me capture a couple seconds here and a couple seconds here. So it takes a lot more effort. People really love to see process, and they like to see, I want to see you start from a white garment and then end like this beautiful tie dye that you've embroidered. Like they want to see every step. So it does take a little bit more effort, but you're giving people a better glimpse into what you do.
Right, right. No, it's so true. I think that we really do want to be on a journey. We want to see evolution. We want to feel change. We had done a talk a few weeks ago with Ed Jones. He's on our advisory board here at the incubator. And, we were talking a bit about like this, like, coming out of a, cocoon, kind of become, this process of evolution. Yeah, like your butterfly, like you're like, we're coming out of this crazy pandemic, we've been cooped up in the house, but while we're here, we want to go on a journey somewhere else. We want to be able to kind of time travel with you, we want to see what you're doing, what you're up to. But wow, I've been really impressed with, your brand, with just how you've been able to carve out a space here in Austin, and really, I think it's more than Austin. You really got a following, much wider than that. And in terms of your where you're looking at going here in the future with your brand, what are you kind of hoping for, kind of as we're still in the pandemic, and then what do you kind of see vision wise, for your brand, getting out of this space?
Yeah, I think, of course, I sit on a lot of hope that this will get better, this whole pandemic, and that we'll slowly transition back to, adopting not quite high fashion, just because my brand is contemporary. So the high fashion part of it is not really my market. My market is much more ready to wear. I like to be part of the woman's closet every single day. I don't want to be something that she puts on for one event and then she, puts it on like Poshmark. I want to be that staple closet piece. So I'm hoping that people really kind of grasp onto the fact that like fast fashion is out, and it is slowly kind of being looked at in a non-sustainable way. And I'm hoping that people really want to invest in the pieces, just like your pieces, like my pieces, the pieces that are going to last us like 10 plus years that they keep into their closet. I have pieces in my closet that I've had for like 15, and I still, bring them back and layer them up. And those are the pieces that have paid for themselves, essentially. It's not something paying $30 for and it'll fall apart. So I'm hoping this whole thing will really like open people's eyes, and they want to invest in like really, nice clothing that it may cost a little more, but it's going to last them a much longer, period of time. But it's going to be a slow process. I mean, right now casuals are so like on the rise. People want hoodies and sweatshirts and t-shirts. I mean, Christian Siriano, Maxwell, everybody's doing this kind of casual stay-at-home essential capsule collection because they don't want high fashion anymore. But I'm hoping that people will start slowly adopting that and getting back into their like regimen, or as things start to open up, it's like, okay, well, now we need to kind of look at these fashion brands that we've been relying on for those casuals, and then looking into their like fashion lines. And I just want to create again.
I hear you. I hear you.
I'm not creating with my casuals, but I'm like, I want to drape and I want to do a collection.
Yes. But I think honestly, you're in the right space. One, because you're selling. I mean, let's just talk about that. You're in business.
Very thankful. Very grateful.
You are in business. So hats off to you. That's awesome. I think that the what's wonderful though, even more so in terms of your customer, your brand, is that people are engaged with you. You
Yeah.
know, they're looking to you, they're talking with you, they're communicating with you, they're buying from you, you know, during a time when everyone's really kind of holding on to their coins.
Mhm.
Let's just talk about that.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that's a huge deal. So, you know, I think that you're going to be in a place to sell into collection when it's time,
Yeah.
you know, personally,
Yeah.
but because I think everyone's still going to be looking up and to see who was here, you know, when we were tucked away.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're
So,
still creating, but I'm very thankful. Like from year to date, you know, it's partially the show, but like running wild with this like new market that I have and these followers and new fans, but also people that are new buyers of my brand. We've shipped to every state other than Alaska. Like Alaska is the only state that I haven't shipped to since January.
you hear that, Alaska?
Yeah, if anybody,
We're sending this to you. Alaska, you are the last one on the list.
I know.
We got to solve that.
That's awesome.
Amazing. Okay, we're sending this to Alaska.
I know. I'm past it.
But amazing. So 49 states.
Mm-hmm. Even Hawaii. I got my first order from Hawaii like a month ago, and I was like, all right, we got one more.
All right. Yeah. That is so exciting. Yeah. That's a big deal. So effectively you're a national brand. You've got all the lower 48 plus Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're going to be fine. I think so.
Like moving into a little bit more fashion as we go, we can start kind of, like I said, I just want to create again.
Yeah. But I think that there's still this kind of above the keyboard dressing. You know, a lot of people have been kind of talking about that, you know.
I have pajama pants on right now. It's fine. Business on top, casual on bottom.
Exactly. And I'm doing the exact same thing. Very casual on the bottom, a little bit more elevated. I changed my earrings here, you know, just it's the details, right? You know, but yeah, this is really where we are right now. And it's, you know, I think that brands are trying to figure out, okay, what's that shift look like? How do we stay engaged? But I think you're spot on. I think you're right on the money. And I know it's not exactly what you're planning coming out of Project Runway, but virtually, you know, we see you, we're engaged with you, and you know, I'm hoping for great things. You know, I can't wait to see it blow up.
And I think it's a weird time. Like, you know, Fashion Week, we've always, you know, being in the industry, we're used to having September and February being this big month of fashion, and we're having to figure out how can I show new collections? How can I adopt new styles in a way that people are going to, you know, identify with them, or even just purchase them or consume them and wear them and show them off and tag us? How can we essentially start with a fashion show and get to a wholesale account? Like, how can we do these things? Not only digitally are we having to be creative, but how can we be creative in getting our product out there as we start to open up, you know, so we're having to be creative in all aspects of our business.
Absolutely. Last question for you, because I think this is kind of, now you're talking about kind of getting it out there. You know, you're a direct to consumer brand, right? You're making the product and you're sending it to customers directly.
I am. I just got my first wholesale account though, so I'm not mad about that.
Okay. So where are we going to find you?
So there's a boutique in Arkansas, which we're still like, she just signed the contract and she's putting in an order. So I don't know what orders those are going to be yet, but I also have an opportunity coming up that I can say more once it's out of the confidential stages. But I think it will be the opportunity of really presenting in a very safe and healthy way, presenting to a very large scale of buyers for a big scale of maybe like a department store or something like that. So
awesome.
Yeah. And I'm excited. Hopefully that, you know, wholesale was definitely like the end goal, just because I definitely want it to be something that's much more, you know, it's accessible on different scales. So you can go to my website and purchase it, but also if you wanted to see it in person, there are stores that you can visit. So hopefully that happens.
Oh yes, it definitely will. It definitely will. We're putting it out there. Yes, exactly. That's how you do it. You have to speak it out there.
It's gonna happen.
So it is. It is. I'm excited. I can't wait to go see it in store. So tell me, so in the meantime, where do we find you now? Like, how do it, like, if I want to, buy some Brittany Allen, where do I go?
Yeah. So my website is shopbrittanyallen.com. And I'm also on Instagram at brittanyallen.atx, and as well as TikTok at brittanyallen.atx. You can see a little bit more of my process there, it's kind of fun.
Okay.
It's a different type of content. But, like I said, we do everything in-house. And I've had plenty of people that have said, like, you don't carry my size and I really, really want this. Or, I really love this, the tie-dye, but I want a different color. I just did a navy sweatshirt and jogger for this guy. So we also do like custom things. It's easy as reaching out to us. So everything is very accessible on our website.
That's awesome. That is so cool. So we can, put in some special order if we need to, but you've got a great offering already. So, I mean, there's some really amazing things to choose from. So I am so excited to have had you here. I can't believe we're already 30 minutes. It always goes by so quickly, but it's always good to see you. You're doing fantastic work. I'm definitely a fan. I'm definitely a fan. So, but yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. So let me run and get this little guy. And yes, I see you. Yes, I do. And we'll catch up with you soon. So guys, thank you so much. Thank you. And guys, this has been ACCFI Presents with Brittany Allen. We are so happy to have had her here. She's such a gem. And also just a star of Austin. We are the fashion incubator at Austin Community College. And if you want to keep up with what's going on with ACCFI Presents, as well as some of our other programming, you can check us out on our YouTube live channel, Workshop Wednesdays and Coffee Talk at ACC Fashion Incubator. Also, all of our social media handles are following the same handle. So ACC Fashion Incubator on all social media channels. And last but not least, if you haven't joined our email list, we do not spam you. We do not call you often. We don't call you at all. But we don't call anybody. No, but fashion.incubator@austincc.edu is the best way to stay up on all of the new programs that are going on. So feel free to send us a quick line, and we'd love to join you to our email list. So again, thank you so much, Brittany, for joining us. It's such a pleasure to see you, and we'll catch up next time.
Of course.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay.